At 11 at night, the burner phone rattled against the mahogany desk.
Richard, it's Joshua Cole. Don't hang up.
Joshua? After 30 years, you call a burner phone at midnight.
Buddy, sit down. Your wife just wired me 40 grand.
40 grand. Karen wanted him dead. Explain.
I run a private intelligence firm. We intercept hits. Your wife hired Raven, my dark web alias. She paid 40,000 up front.
You are saying my wife hired a hitman, and that hitman is my old fraternity brother.
On the laptop screen, the dark web message thread glowed. Karen's crypto wallet signature, the $40,000 transfer, Raven's reply. Understood. Payment received. Delivery within the week.
He studied the signatures, his wife's hand. Then he smiled. The quiet smile of a man who had just been handed the only play that could save him.
Karen Reeves signed a prenup 9 years ago. A comfortable life, zero claim to the oil fortune. The marriage curdled. She found escape in a yoga studio and its instructor, Patrick.
9 years, Richard. I gave you 9 years, and this prenup leaves me with nothing.
You knew the terms.
But Karen had already decided. She laughed with Patrick in the studio, his hand resting on her hip. The affair blazed in secret. In the car, she kissed him like a woman tasting freedom.
Relax, Karen. Inhale the future. Exhale the past.
Past meant Richard. The future meant $3 million and an open road.
Richard saw the signs, the distance, the hidden phone, but he never suspected she would go this far. The motive was clear: freedom and $2 million. Karen had priced Richard's life and found a buyer.
My firm intercepts dark web kill orders. Yours popped up 6 hours after Karen posted the contract.
6 hours. And you waited until midnight to call me.
On the desk, a framed 1989 fraternity photo caught the lamplight. 2 young men, arms slung around each other, plastic cups raised.
Remember the Sigma Chi pledge prank? You bet the dean would walk through that door 2 seconds before he did. You always saw what was coming first.
Joshua had been his radar 30 years ago. Now he was offering something far more lethal.
I am not asking you to stay quiet. I am asking you to let me make you dead.
You mean stage a hit and run, fake the coroner's report, and then what?
Karen collects the insurance, flees with the yoga instructor. The FBI will be waiting at the airport. I've already forwarded the contract.
The plan left no margin. If the FBI didn't move fast, Karen would vanish with his money. Give me an hour.
For 60 minutes, Richard sat in the lamplight, staring at the fraternity photo. Then he lifted the phone again.
Joshua, I am in.
Good. I'll have the accident scene set within 2 hours. Keep your phone off, pack a bag, and leave within the hour.
4 hours later, on a deserted stretch of road, a car sat crumpled against a tree, windshield shattered, crimson shining under a single street lamp. A contact wheeled a sealed body bag into the morgue, clipboard signed with a name that wasn't Richard's.
The coroner's report will list cause of death as blunt force trauma. No autopsy. Karen will receive the call by morning.
Richard drained a tumbler of scotch in a generic hotel room, his personal phone left behind on the dresser. Joshua forwarded a draft. Certificate of death, Richard T. Reeves. Immediate cause, exsanguination due to motor vehicle collision.
One misstep, and Karen would smell the ruse. But if they pulled it off, the prenup would be the least of her problems.
By dawn, Richard Reeves had vanished. The trap was set, and Karen was already dreaming of Bali. The call came at 7:15 a.m. Karen was in the living room, alone. She picked up the phone, her fingers steady. The officer's voice was flat. Richard Reeves had been in a fatal crash. No further details.
Her chest tightened, not with grief, but with the electric thrill of an exit door swinging open. It's over, Patrick. Richard is dead.
Oh, baby. Come to me. We'll get through this together.
But already she was calculating. The insurance call, the funeral, the flight to Bali.
By noon, she sat across from a funeral director, choosing the cheapest casket with a straight face.
Something simple. Richard would have wanted modesty.
The director nodded, handing her a catalog. Karen flipped to the back, already packing her spiritual luggage. That evening, in her walk-in closet, she threw dresses into a suitcase, rehearsing the widow's walk in her head. The funeral unfolded under a flat, gray sky. Karen stood at the podium in a designer black veil, a white rose trembling in her hand.
Richard was a man who provided. He gave me a life I never imagined, and now I have to imagine a life without him.
At the back, Patrick pressed a handkerchief to his mouth, hiding a grin. An old colleague questioned the crash. Richard drove like a priest, he said. Karen's eyes flickered.
He must have been tired. The roads were wet. One tear for the cameras. She blinked, and it rolled perfectly down her cheek.
As the casket lowered, Karen dropped the white rose onto the mahogany lid. A final, staged goodbye. At the insurance office, a woman in a sharp suit slid the $3 million check across the desk.
Thank you for making this so quick.
The check read $3 million, payable to Karen Reeves. She folded it into her purse and walked out into the sun. 3 days later, Karen and Patrick stood at the check-in counter, matching luggage at their feet. Tickets to Bali in hand.
The beach was already real in her mind. White sand, a pink cocktail, Patrick's hands.
In his bunker, Joshua watched the same flight manifest flicker on his screen.
Miller, they're on United 842, departing 10:45. Insurance cleared. The crypto trail is in your inbox.
Received. We'll have a reception committee at Ingura Rai. Let them board.
The file read, Subject, Karen Reeves. Conspiracy to commit murder. Evidence, crypto transaction, dark web contract. Karen handed over her passport, the agent scanning it. No alert triggered, yet.
This is it, baby. Freedom.
$3 million won't buy her a lawyer that can beat this.
The gate agent smiled. Enjoy your flight, Mrs. Reeves. Karen walked down the jetway, heart pounding with the final steps of her escape. 30,000 feet over the Pacific. Karen pressed her forehead to the window, her reflection ghost pale against the night.
That TSA agent. She had looked at her twice, held the passport an extra second.
Babe, you are spiraling. We're on the plane. Relax.
You didn't see her face. She knew something.
The only thing she knew is you looked like a woman who just buried her husband. They see that 100 times a day.
As the plane descended, Bali emerged, a ribbon of emerald below, clouds parting like curtains. At Ingura Rai, they shuffled into the customs hall, Karen's heels clicking on polished stone, her eyes flicking to every uniform. She handed her passport to the customs agent, a man with a crimson tie and a silent stare. The stamp came down with a resonant thud. No alert, no handcuffs, just a nod. They stepped into the Balinese heat, Patrick's arm around her. Behind them, an unmarked vehicle idled, its driver speaking into a lapel mic. In a hotel room, 3,000 miles away, Richard's burner vibrated again.
Richard, the FBI has had the contract since before your fake death.
The plan was never just about revenge. Joshua had made him a federal witness.
Agent Miller had been building the case in secret, waiting for the money to move.
Mr. Reeves, your testimony will seal the charges. Stay hidden until the arrest.
And if I don't cooperate, I just wanted to be dead on paper.
The crypto wallet address, the time-stamped messages, the entire dark web thread. Joshua had forwarded it all.
This isn't just your divorce. It's a federal indictment. Trust me like old times.
He stood by the window, city lights a blur. Trust had brought him here. It would carry him through.
He looked at the framed fraternity photo. Some bonds didn't break, they just changed shape.
I'll testify, Miller, but I want to hand her the divorce papers myself.
The agent assured him the extradition request had already been signed by the Indonesian authorities. An Indonesian inspector stamped the warrant in a quiet office, the ink still wet.
The sun melted the last of her doubt. $3 million and a man who adored her.
To new beginnings. Beautiful. The rest of our lives starts now.
The unmarked sedan's driver whispered into the lapel, "Target still on the beach. Proceed on my mark."
It was almost time. He pulled out the charcoal sweater she'd last seen him in.
He pictured her face when he walked into the room. No words, just the envelope.
Tell them to move in when she gets back to the hotel tonight.
The final signal was sent. In 2 hours, Karen Reeves would step into a hallway full of badges. In the suite, Karen logged into her offshore account. The screen flickered, account frozen by federal order.
That's impossible. The insurance cleared. No one could freeze it.
She tried the backup exchange, same red banner. The $3 million was behind a wall she couldn't see.
Patrick, get in here now.
What's wrong? You look like you saw a ghost.
The money, it's frozen. All of it. Someone hit the accounts. Only one person could have done this. She grabbed her phone and opened the dark web forum.
She typed to Raven, "What did you do? The money is locked. Contact me immediately." No reply. The screen stayed gray. Patrick poured a whiskey, hand shaking.
Her reflection in the glass was a woman who had been set up, and she had no idea who was pulling the strings.
Karen's fingers flew across the laptop, dragging a flight to Sao Paulo onto the payment screen.
Patrick, we leave tonight. Sao Paulo has no extradition treaty.
Calm down. It's a bank error. We didn't do anything wrong.
A bank error? The FBI doesn't freeze $3 million for a bank error.
She threw clothes into a carry-on and pulled Patrick toward the door without another word. At the ticket counter, the agent scanned her passport. A red line pulsed on the screen. 2 officers stepped from the crowd, hands resting on weapons, cutting off any escape.
She grabbed Patrick's arm, but an officer unpeeled her fingers and pulled him away.
Karen was thrust into a stark room. A single chair faced a mirrored wall.
Karen Reeves, you are in federal custody.
The interrogation room hummed with cold light. Agent Miller sat across from Karen, a folder thick as a fist sliding onto the table.
I don't know what this is about. I am a widow. I lost my husband.
You wired $40,000 in Bitcoin to a dark web fixer named Raven. That's not grieving. That's not grieving. That's a contract.
Karen's jaw tightened, the performance flickering. She leaned back, crossing her arms.
I didn't hire anyone. I invested in a crypto fund. It's all legal.
Miller opened the folder. The dark web thread, the crypto wallet signature, Karen's own IP address.
Your signature, Karen. The encryption key matches your home computer. The message reads, "Need a fixer. Permanent."
Karen's facade cracked. The color drained from her face, leaving only the hard lines of someone who knew the walls had closed.
Raven betrayed her, but Richard was dead. That truth still held.
Agent Miller stood. "You'll be extradited tonight. A federal cell is waiting." 3 days later, in a hotel room 2 states away, Richard stood before the mirror, smoothing the charcoal cashmere down his chest.
This was the sweater she'd last seen him in. He wanted her to remember.
He slid the manila envelope into his jacket. The prenup divorce filing nestled against his ribs. The parking lot outside was quiet. He wiped a fleck of dust from the Lexus door handle before sliding into the seat.
The moment she'd realize he'd been 3 moves ahead all along.
The highway stretched like a gray ribbon toward the city. He kept his speed at 60, hands steady on the wheel. An hour later, the federal building rose ahead, a granite monolith against the dusk sky. He pulled into a visitor spot, killed the engine, and sat for a long moment, the envelope, a hard line beneath his jacket.
He wasn't walking in as a victim or a ghost. He was walking in as the man who had written the ending she never saw coming.
He stepped out, straightened his sweater, and walked toward the glass doors, his reflection merging with the dimming light. The glass doors slid open. Inside, the building smelled of floor wax and silence. A guard nodded him toward the holding wing. Richard pushed the door open. The interrogation room was cold, metallic, and Karen sat on the other side of the table.
He's dead. I watched them lower the casket.
But the man before her was solid, breathing, wearing the same charcoal sweater he'd worn the last night. She saw him alive, without a word. Richard reached inside his jacket and laid a cream envelope in the center of the table. The weight of it seemed to bend the metal. Karen's cuffed hands twitched, but she didn't move. Then, the slightest smile. A man who had waited months for this exact second. He turned toward the door. Not a single syllable, just the soft click of his shoes on the tile. The door swung closed behind him. Karen's eyes stayed on the envelope, her future inside it. A sob caught in her throat. She'd spent $80,000 to kill a man who now had the last laugh. The sob shattered into a scream that bounced off the cinderblock walls.
You can't do this. He's dead. I buried him.
Agent Miller caught her shoulder with one firm hand and pressed her back into the chair.
Sit down, Karen. The theatrics are over.
The cream envelope lay open now, the contents spilled. A petition for divorce, dated yesterday, and the prenuptial agreement she'd signed 9 years ago.
He'd stripped her of the insurance, the estate, everything. She was left with nothing but a federal charge.
Agent Miller slid the divorce petition and the prenup toward her, the signatures bold and final.
You get nothing, Karen. Not a single cent. And the state of Florida versus Karen Reeves on conspiracy to commit murder.
It was the first time she'd heard her own name next to a criminal charge. The sound of it hollowed her out.
The door opened again. 2 officers lifted her from the chair, and she was led into a hallway that smelled of bleach and finality. Richard walked the same corridor, passing a door that had just swallowed his wife. Agent Miller fell into step beside him for 3 paces, then broke away with a nod. No words passed. The nod said everything.
A clean break. That's all he'd ever wanted.
The exit doors swung open onto the parking lot, the sky now a deep indigo. He filled his lungs with the night air. It tasted like nothing and everything at once.
30 years of building, 9 years of marriage, 1 night of betrayal, and he was still standing.
He slid into the Lexus and shut the door. The world outside went quiet. The engine turned over, and he pulled out of the lot without looking back. In the rearview mirror, the reflection of a man who had finally closed the ledger. 6 months later, a cell block hummed with the metallic drone of counted days. Karen Reeves sat on a narrow bunk, her orange jumpsuit stiff and new. The yoga-toned arms were now marked with an inmate number. She hadn't spoken in days. In another wing, Patrick shared a cell with a career embezzler. His Californian glow faded to a stale gray. His letters to the DA went unanswered. The plea deal hung over him like a sentence already served. And 2,000 miles away, Richard sat in his study, the same lamplight softening the edges of his chair. On the desk, a single item replaced the laptop. The framed 1989 fraternity photo, now set where it had always belonged. 2 young men with plastic cups raised, frozen in a moment that had proven stronger than any marriage.
Some people buy loyalty. Others earn it in a basement with bad beer and a shared secret.
He leaned back, the leather creaking once. The house was still, the ledger was closed. Only the photo knew what that burner phone had started, and it kept its silence. In her office, Agent Miller slapped a red classified stamp across the Reeves file and filed it under resolved. The dark web contract, the crypto wallet trail, Karen's own words, all sealed. The sentencing was final. 3 states away, a courier delivered a wooden crate to Joshua's bunker. Inside, 12 bottles of Lafroig and a note. He lifted the note. For the best fraternity brother a man could ask for. Don't drink it all at once. Richard. Later, Joshua logged into the dark web forum. Raven's inbox was empty. The avatar pulsed one last time. He clicked delete. A pop-up. Are you sure you wish to delete this account? This action cannot be undone. He hit yes. Raven dissolved into a 404-page. All traces of the 93 intercepted hits vanished. Miles away, Richard's study remained empty, the chair still. His phone lit up with a one-word text, "Gone." He didn't reply. He let the lamp burn low, the house quiet around him. No burner phones, no false obituaries. The fraternity photo on the desk caught the lamplight one last time. Some friendships didn't break. They just knew when to go quiet. He drove east until the asphalt gave way to gravel, the air thick with salt and memory. The motel room was modest, a single window, the sea just visible past a line of dunes. He left his shoes on the floor and walked out to meet the tide.
Not Bali, but the sand felt the same under his feet.
The waves erased his footprints the moment they formed. A perfect metaphor he didn't need to say aloud.
She thought she was buying a killer. Instead, she purchased the one man on Earth who would never sell him out.
The rear-view mirror captured the empty stretch of coast, a single set of tire tracks leading away. He checked out the next morning. No receipts, no names in the log. Just a cash tip and an empty room. The Lexus pointed west again, but something in his posture had shifted. The past was truly behind him now.
The only revenge worth having is the one you never have to speak.
The study was brighter now. The same lamp burned, but the shadows had retreated into the corners. On the desk, the fraternity photo sat where it had always belonged. 2 young men with plastic cups raised, frozen in 1989. One of them became an oil pipeline broker. The other became a hunter on the dark web. Karen saw a fixer. She never saw the brotherhood that 30 years of silence had forged. She wired $80,000 to the one man who would never betray Richard. The empty chair waited in the lamplight. No laptop, no burner phone, only the memory of a quiet smile. The man who had been dead walked out of a federal building and into a life he'd earned twice. Because in the end, the best revenge isn't the kind that's loud. It's the kind that's patient, precise, and never says a word. And sometimes the only person who can save you is the friend you haven't seen since a basement party in 1989. The study settled into silence. The photo kept its secret, and Richard Reeves, alive and unburdened, drove into a sunset no one could take from him. In a landfill, 100 miles from the study, a shattered burner phone lay among rusted cans. It was the phone that rang at 11 at night. The one that whispered, "Buddy, sit down." Joshua had crushed it under his boot the night the case closed. No fingerprints, no records, nothing left. Here is to the fraternity brother who turned the dark web into an old boy network, to Joshua Cole, who intercepted a hit and saved a friend, and to Richard Reeves, who walked out of his own funeral and into a second life. The screen holds on the shattered phone, a final reminder that some calls change everything. Then, slowly, the image fades to black, the crack in the screen, the last thing to disappear. No music, no credits, just the memory of a quiet smile, and then silence.